I think it's more than safe to say that for those of you that have been at this channel for a while, you know how much I love bringing you farming videos. And I don't care if we're talking about farming XP or gear, that is by far one of my favorite types of videos to bring you because my goal is to help you become efficient with your gameplay. And one thing I've noticed over the last few weeks is that in multiple farming videos that have brought you over the last 6 months to a year, I'm getting a lot of questions from people asking, hey, can this get me banned? So this morning I wanted to take a few minutes and try to answer a few questions that many of you have sent the channel over the last few weeks since this whole ban hammer thing took place, and most of these questions are from new and returning players who are sincerely worried that they're accidentally going to do something that's going to get them in trouble, or they'll see something in a video that may get them in trouble as well. Now, one thing I've made clear, and I think most of you know this as well, I will never share anything with you here at the channel that could possibly get you in trouble, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the video, but the first thing we're going to talk about is playing the game as intended, and the bottom line is this. If something is discovered in the game that the game feels is an exploit, they are going to let the community know and warn people. That's the bottom line. Now, whether you agree with that or disagree with that, that is not why we're here. We're not talking about that. My job right now is to let you know what can and cannot get you in trouble, which brings me to my next point, which is talking about playing the game as intended and what that actually means. And as always, my fellow agents, I'm going to use myself as an example. And the perfect one to use right now is farming for XP in the game. That's for a few reasons. First of all, we have a season going on. Many players are still on their way to season level 100, and at the same time, we also have an apparel event for the next few weeks, and for many of you out there, including myself, you may not have a lot of time to play. So one thing I try to do here is show you how to maximize your gameplay, and one great way to do that, and this is something I've shown you in multiple videos over the last few weeks, is farming different open world activities, finding one that is close to a fast travel location, because as most of you know by now, when you hit up an open world activity and you reset your control points, there's a chance that that open world activity can respawn, and if that's the case, you can hit that spot up over and over again and really maximize that gameplay, get a lot of XP in a short amount of time. Now, to be clear, that is not an exploit because you are playing the game as intended. You are using a mechanic in the game. In this case, that mechanic is resetting your control points, and then you are choosing to farm the same location over and over again. Now, if you happen to want to do that for 2-3 hours straight, that's completely and totally on you. To me, it sounds absolutely maddening to do that for an hour, 2, 3, whatever it is straight, but I know a lot of players like to do that because they want to try to get apparel keys, whatever it is. And again, to be clear, that is not an exploit. You're using an in-game mechanic, and we've seen the game make adjustments. They just made one recently. We know that resource convoys for the last, forever, 2 years, however long it's been, I mean, those were giving you double XP nonstop. And as most of you know by now, the game recently took that out because it was never intended to be there. And actually, as I think about it, I think it's been there since day one. I think it's actually been in the game for 4 or 5 years. Let me know in the comments section if you know the specifics. Now, that does take us to the topic of double companion and the fact that it is giving you an insane amount of extra damage that you should not be getting at this point. Now, once again, to be very, very clear, that is not, nor should it be, a bannable offense. Now, what you're looking at on screen is from a survey that Epic Slayer did at his channel. I will leave a link to that in the video description down below, but you can see Morten Ryberg, who is the product director over at The Division 2, had this to say about this topic. Using both talents has an unintended behavior and will be fixed, but is not subject for a ban. And in my opinion, that is completely and totally correct. Players should not be punished for something that's in the game. If I put on a jacket and it makes my character fly, you can bet your I would be using that thing nonstop because who wouldn't want to fly in the game? Now, unfortunately, it does affect different aspects of the community. Not the flying thing, the whole double companion thing. And what I mean by that is that for PvE players, you're just getting more damage. You're ripping through content. Maybe you're able to do a few things you couldn't do before, get some better gear, whatever it is. But unfortunately for PvP players, this unfortunately is another game-breaking thing added to the list of many that they have to deal with. And keep in mind, I am saying that as someone who never sets foot in the Dark Zone. It really does not affect my gameplay in any way whatsoever. But obviously here at the channel, I want to let you know everything that is going on. Now, in my opinion, and please let me know what you think in the comment section down below, but obviously the game is not happy with these things and they want these things fixed as quickly as possible. Now, how we get to that place, my fellow agents, I do not know, but as always, if you have any other questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know and I will do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. Now, as I start to wrap this video up, I do want to answer a very general question a lot of you have sent the channel as well, and that is, how can you tell on your own if it's something that could possibly get you banned or not? Now, first of all, anything in this game that could potentially get you banned is going to have a few steps that take place before those bans happen. So first of all, the game is going to let you know exactly what's going on and give you a fair warning, and if you're not sure when that takes place, you know here at the channel I will always keep you informed on everything that is going on. And the other thing is this. These are not things that you can accidentally do multiple times in a row. So the people who were using this exploit willingly knew exactly what they were doing, when they were doing it, and they knew what the end result would be. And look, like I said before, I am not here to have a discussion about bans. Should they happen? Should they not happen? Do you agree? Do you disagree? That doesn't matter to me. None of that stuff matters. I'm so sick of this entire topic. But what I do care about is making sure that players who are new or just returning to the game have the proper information so they do not worry about things they should not worry about. These are things we should not have to think about, my fellow agents. Our job should be jumping in, playing the game. And as always, you know I will completely have your back 110% here. Let me know if you have any other questions, and I think that's going to do it for this video. Now, as I start to wrap this up, I do want to mention one more thing really quick, and that is how much I appreciate your amazing support of this channel. Now, when I say that, I'm not referencing the views or the likes. I'm talking about the fact that we actually have created a toxic-free gaming environment, which brings me to another point, and that is the discussions that we have here. Now, most of you know this. I will never tolerate the bashing of an individual here at the channel. We may disagree on things. We can have a discussion. That's what grown-ass people do. So again, my fellow agents, I appreciate the privilege of your time, and if you have any other questions, let me know. As I mention at the end of every one of these, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, but most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.